How's it going? My name's Kieran Heese, and I would like to present SimDash, a Python simulation dashboard. So SimDash came out of the Social Sim project a little bit because we wanted to be able to visualize simulations that change with time. And so they worked by, one of the more common ones, one of the more common visualization techniques that is known as TensorBoard, which is one of like it's a type of simulation board, and we wanted to rival it with SimDash because TensorBoard cannot visualize simulations that happen over time, that change with time. So say that you had like a graph of a map or and you wanted to see populations, and you wanted to see how they changed from the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s to now. You could drag a finger along the along the bottom part and see how it develops. And so one of the interesting things that we wanted to have is a intuitive web UI that you could just run straight from a command line command, and it would generate a local host, and you could see the visualizations that you wanted to create. And finally, it's a free and open source Python package, so we wanted to have well-documented code, and it needed to be easy to read, so others could go in and change it themselves. And it's free, so it's easy for them to obtain and get. The features, I wanted to implement several features into SimDash, but I haven't had the chance to implement all of them yet. The first one is a fully functional database for storing all of the data and relative information, such as the columns and the data types. Then we wanted to have a flexible data model for the visualization, so we could visualize scalars, maps, vectors, and how they change over time. So as you see the visualization change as time changes. And then we wrote a couple input pipelines that help you see a couple trial input pipelines, like get PID, which will allow you to look into the PIDs that are being run by a certain user and see what they are running and how much CPU and memory usage they're using up. And that's just an example of an input pipeline. You could write your own for your own simulations and see the information that you would like to see. Then we wanted to implement once you put your data into the database, we want to implement a web UI that works with plotting the actual charts that you wanted to visualize, and it works with the command line command, so you just say sim-serve, and it'll plot all of the charts that you wanted to visualize. Here's an example of the interface for what SimDash is going to look like. On the left, you can see a chart that shows memory usage and CPU usage over a period of time, and you can see how a simulation has maybe used up a certain percentage of the CPU or something. And then on the right is one of the more complex visualizations, which is a map, and it shows data points, and then you can drag along the bottom and see how those data points change over time, over location, or over in their size. And here's a diagram of the software. So it starts with a researcher who either writes their own data input pipeline or uses one of the several ones that we provide, or they can just input the data correctly into themselves into the database. And then they write a configuration file which specifies which charts to make, as well as which kind of graphs and the encodings of the X and Y variables. And it takes the data and places it into the visualization interface. And then that uses Altair, which is a Python visualization program, and creates Vega or Vega Lite graphics on the web server, which is a local host run on Flask. And yeah, that concludes my presentation.